Hello everyone. So, Kem Cho Gujarat? Okay. So, let's start first. This is my first talk.
So tell us about yourself, like about your experience. Like backstage, we had conversation, like more than 9, 10 years of experience. And how did it feel when you got to know that you're gonna be one of the speaker?
Yeah, I really excited about the Laracon, and my journey started as a software developer. And when I joined Webkul around 5 years back, and it was really exciting for me that company gave me a chance to work on a Bagisto. So slowly we have adapted all the things, and we have developed Bagisto. So that's all from my side.
Perfect. Thank you. Can you please check your slides? Next.
Yeah,
Working fine.
it's working fine.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you once again. Boop, boop, boop.
Okay, so most of the introduction actually gone here. So let's start. So in this talk, I will talk about what actually broke first in our application. So this is actually based on a real production failures and the challenge and the lesson that we have learned from them. So if you are planning an application that needs to be scaled in the future, then I hope this talk will give you a better clarity or a clear roadmap. So let's start with my journey first. So my journey starts with Bagisto when Bagisto was in 1.2 series, and here is the Bagisto version at that time. So at that time, scalability was not our top priority. We are actually working on uh, developing a functionality, trying to stabilizing the products, and trying to meet the real merchant problems. So as the Bagisto evolves, more and more clients comes in, and that with that the expectations also grow with it. So this was the point that scalability was not optional anymore. So here is our latest version, Bagisto 2.x. So this is not a sudden rewrite. It is actually the result of failures that we have got it in the 1.x series. So in Bagisto 2.x, we have done several architecture changes, which I am going to share you in the next slides. Now, one thing I want to clarify here that Bagisto 2.x is not a UI focused rewrite. Yes, under the hood, we have first working on the performance part, and then we move to the other stuffs. So, Laravel handles scales when you know the path. So, generally when the system grows, then the responsibilities and challenges also grows with it. So, the things that are working on a smaller scale doesn't break suddenly. It will start slowly showing the cracks. So, similarly in our case, our Bagisto was working fine, admin panels were working fine, and filters are also working fine because catalog were relatively small. But as the catalog started growing from 10,000 to 100,000, then the thing started gradually slowing down. So our admin panels become unusable, and even the shop is taking more and more time. So this was the point that we need to understand the early symptoms. And because it is giving an early symptom that your system is hitting the limits of an architecture that was not designed for that level of scale. So here, so understanding this problem is very important because it will tell you what broke first. So I have a question from the audience. So generally, what will broke first when it's come to of scalability? Anyone? Yeah, exactly, database. So multiple layers of the system started showing stress at the same time. So the first one is the database. So obviously, when in the database you having a high normalized table, then obviously you will having a lots of join queries. So you have a lots of join queries and you have grows your data, then this will reduce the performance. The second part is the eloquent overuse. At some places, we are hydrating thousands of models, which is actually a silent performance killer. And the third thing is real-time everything. Before Bagisto 1.4.5 actually, uh, lots of things has been a real time. So the problem is like price calculation, like inventory management, out of stock items. Everything is around, it is in the real time. So what that means? It's actually present in the request lifecycle. So this actually makes the request lifecycle very heavyweight. So to understand this, that we need to actually make the request lifecycle very lightweight. The next part is the realization. The realization is that we have the source of truth like MySQL, but we don't have a proper read engine. So, what was the real problem? So, the real problem was not Laravel, not MySQL, and neither Elasticsearch itself. The problem was that how responsibilities were mixed together. So, the thing is, we are actually asking a single system to do two very different jobs, like asking to maintain the consistency, and at the same time, we are fetching the highly optimized read data. So this is not ideal. At some point, this will work, but above that, this will not work. So what can be the solution? And the first thing is, every team will go from this part. So first, every team comes in the mind that why not we should denormalize string. So like every other teams, we started denormalizing the table, and we have introduced the product flat query, product flat table, sorry. And for the normalized data, for the correctness, we have normalized table, and for that we have a denormalized table. But still, at some point, this also doesn't help. So because for searching part and for the filter, aggregation, sorting, we are still depends on database. So database is like, so we actually just break here. So the problem was in the terms of scalability, search engines and database are two very different things. So search engines are meant for the product discovery, whereas database are meant for the data consistency. So when we delegate the right responsibility to the right tools, then your architecture becomes much simplified. So here is our simplified architecture which we have used. For the search engine, we are using the Elasticsearch, and for the queue part, we have it acted as a backbone, and this is actually handling all the heavy tasks. And at some places, we are using read models and cache. And last part is MySQL, obviously, as a source of engine. Now let's quickly walk through the flow. So on the right side, everything starts with the MySQL, and then it is gone to the queue part. And in the queue, everything is done like all the heavy tasks like price calculations, inventory calculations, and even cache invalidations. And then it's went to the Elasticsearch. So after this, once our architecture is simplified, then we have started working on the request level performance. So here, Laravel Octane actually helped us a lot. So what Laravel Octane actually do, it actually boots your application in the memory. So you can think about it like that. If your application is taking 5 seconds to load the page, then Octane will make it 4.5 seconds. That's a meaningful improvement, right? But you still have a 4.5 second page left. Similarly, if your architecture is wrong, then Octane will make that architecture 10 to 20% faster. But that architecture is still a wrong architecture. So the purity should be like this: architecture first and then optimization second. To get your architecture right, then add Octane for the extra performance boost. And then after that, we have added cache at the edge. So here we actually go in two ways. We are using for the static pages, category pages, we are using actually full page caching. Thanks to the Spacey team for the beautiful package. So for this part, actually full page cache, your Laravel application will always hit. So to handle the anonymous traffic, we have gone through the varnish package also. So this will actually reduce the backend load time. But still there is a catch here. Once the personalization comes in, then the cache becomes more complicated. So, but yes, cache helped us a lot because the architecture underneath is simplified. Now, this thing actually not part of a scalability, but I feel this is actually a very important thing. The thing is, after working on several years in a Bagisto, I think one thing that most important, that code review is not easy. It requires time, it requires context, it requires efforts, and most importantly, it's the most painful part when it comes to the comes to the maintaining the large database. So most of the performance issue and the stability issue doesn't come from the bad code. It's actually coming from the decision, those small decisions that actually ignored in the small phase, but at the large scale, those small decisions can be compounded off very quickly. So invest the time in the code review part because it will help you to identify the architectural depth and early warning signs. So similarly, here is one of our clients, Sultan Center, one of the biggest e-commerce store in the Kuwait. So they were earlier using the Magento. Due to this, their infrastructure cost is very heavy, around 30,000. So their developer is actually searching for the new framework like other frameworks. So they actually check the Bagisto part. So their team of developer actually invested time and they actually invested 1 month. After that, they have decided to move on the Bagisto part, and after this move, they're actually costing down from $30,000 to $12,000. So this is the beauty of Laravel that is actually helping in the clean architecture and with the reducing in the server cost. So similarly, we have few more clients like NFT from Armenia. It is actually a NFT marketplace, which it is having around 50,000 to 70,000, 700,000 NFTs. Similarly, we have a Digicala, Toyota, and a Vivek Electronics. So out of this whole pattern, three things I actually learned from. The first thing is try to solve early because scaling limit doesn't come at the 1 million. You need to actually start identifying the problems at the smaller level around 50,000 to 100,000. Second thing is the architecture part. Try to invest time in the architecture because tools can evolve, but a good architecture can survive any tool. And the last thing is always stay disciplined because invest your time in the code review because it will help you to identify early warning signs. Now, last I want to say that Laravel always stays simple. We should not fight with the framework or bend it into something that it was not meant to be. When the system around it becomes smarter, then the Laravel gets the space to do what it does best. And that's what allowed us to scale by not putting complexity, by putting right thing at the right place. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Devansh. Bhavdeep, please refresh that slide. So, how was your experience first time speaking on stage, bro?
Little bit nervous, but trying my best to give audience.
You already did the best. Did you
Thank
felt that he was nervous? No, see?
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to tell, like, we have met couple of times, and
Yeah.
every time I meet, you are always smiling. So, is this something like which, I mean, like, it's part of your DNA, or over the period of time you made yourself?
No, it's part of our DNA.
So, like, if you have to say it in Hindi, like, आप में ऐसा क्या है कि आप ऐसे ही हो मतलब? Do you ever get stress?
Yeah, most of the time having a stress, but it is manageable.
मतलब
Little bit.
बाकी सब ठीक बस चल रहा है.
चल रहा है.
Very
Yeah.
good. So for you, I have personalized rapid fire. So can you come on right side?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So think and act fast. All right. Let's start. Scale fast or scale stable?
Scale stable.
Second, monolith first or microservice later?
Complicated, but I will go with monolith first.
Okay. Optimize early or optimize when it hurts?
Optimize early.
MySQL or Redis?
But this thing, two separate things.
Yeah,
It should be MySQL or Postgres, but it's what is in terms of like
pick one.
It's MySQL. Okay.
Okay. Fifth, database first or cache first?
Database first, but as my experience, try to test our cache part also because in the later on it will be more painful for you.
Sixth, vertical scale or horizontal scale?
So for that actually, it depends actually.
Yeah. Still just pick one.
I will go with the horizontal scale.
Okay. Seventh, logs or metrics?
Logs.
Eighth. Late nights during scale or calm releases?
Uh,
Calm
release.
releases.
Yeah.
You are so calm, so. Founders calling or servers crashing?
Uh, tough part. Tough part, very. Okay. Servers crashing. That's
Wow. I'm calling you.
it. Just jokes apart.
One from my side, Delhi or Bombay?
Delhi.
Goa or Kochi?
Kochi.
And Dubai or Singapore?
Dubai.
Nice. You have been there?
Not yet. But
Okay.
I don't go to Singapore yet also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done, Devansh. Thank you for
Thank you
being
so
on
much.
stage. Thank you so much.